Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's July 19th, 2015. This week we're going to do a lesson covering guitar strum patterns. And this week's question was sent in from William. He's out in Seattle, Washington, and he wrote in with this email. I'm an intermediate player who has worked on 2 beginner books and finger picking. I know the technique of strumming from the books, but I'm not thinking freely like a rhythm player. What are some popular strum patterns I should learn for styles like blues, pop music, and rock? I think if I learn some strum patterns, I can go on from there and make up my own. Thanks from William in Seattle, Washington, USA. Wait, thanks for writing in, William. You know, strumming and the role of rhythm guitar are really important to us. In every guitar player, we need to have a very good handle on how this operates because it's the primary role we have in the band. When you consider for a moment how much time we spend playing solos, it's actually minimal compared to the amount of time that we spend strumming the harmonies. So in this lesson, what we're going to do is look through some ideas that are common for rhythm durations found in all popular contemporary music styles. In this lesson, we are going to work through 3 guitar strum patterns that we commonly find used in blues, pop, and rock music. I'll break down the feel and the job of the strumming hand so that you have a good idea how to approach the development of these, and of course also your future rhythm strumming ideas that you're going to obviously be working toward on your own after a period of time. So anyway, let's zoom in on the neck and get to work. Our first example is going to take a look at the world of blues rhythm guitar. Now, blues rhythmic feel operates around a swung 8th note triplet concept. On its own, it just sounds like this: 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. And in the blues rhythm styles, we're going to have it applied with a real abundance of dominant 7th chords, often mixed with boogie style riffs. So we'll often have this too. Alongside the old swing rhythm idea, 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, you know, that kind of sound. So this is really what we're after here in setting up the blues concept. In my example that I have, the first example here, I'm going to keep things really simple and just focus on a couple of easy dominant 7th chords applied as an A dominant 7th off a 6th string root. That's just a bar chord where you're laying flat across all 6 strings. You're bringing in your 3rd finger a whole step away from where your index is on the next string adjacent to that. So we have basically a small power chord shape set up that way. So here off the A at 5th fret 6th string, I'm just reaching over across the 7th fret of the 5th string, and then I have that bar going on to catch the dominant 7th tone, so that's kind of an important note there. Then we're going to use middle finger on the 3rd string. In this case, it's on the 6th fret. And we're going to use that as our dominant 7th shape. And we're also going to use a D 7th along with that A 7th. That's going to be in the 5th position as well. And it's just basically going to be a bar chord idea once again. Here we're going to have bar again across all the strings from the 5th over to the 1st. And then we're going to add in our ring finger and our small finger. That's going to be a whole step up. And in the case of this D7, we're going to be, after our bar on the 5th fret, we're going to be up on the 7th fret of the 4th string and also the 7th fret of the 2nd string with the ring finger and the small finger. So those are the 2 chord shapes. And the idea with the strum pattern is basically you have a down, up. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, just like that. So down, up. And you can hear I'm counting in my mind. I'm counting that triplet idea. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But I'm only attacking on the down and then on the last up of that triplet. So it's 1 and like that. 1 and And that's going to give me this shuffle rhythm, blues style rhythm, swung feel, whatever you want to call it. Basically, this is that dotted quarter and the 8th note under the triplet symbol that is so popular, this shuffle rhythm style in all the blues pieces. So basically, these could be performed if you wanted to over in the open position. You could do just a standard A7 open chord, or you could do a D7 there as an open chord as well. So you could do those if you're not familiar, or if you're having trouble with barring. Sometimes, you know, even intermediate students can have some trouble barring chords. So, but over time they'll come. You know, that's the thing about it, is, you know, you just work on the open positions for a while, then you start moving along the neck with the bars, and they do come along eventually. But basically, let's just check out how this blues style rhythm guitar groove that I put together here. It's just a 4-bar phrase. It's just using the A7 and the D7 only. And here's how it sounds. 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2, 3 and a 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 4 and 1. All right, my second idea that we're going to focus upon is going to be one of the most popular rhythm strumming groove setups played by today's guitarists. It's the pop music rhythm. Now, I need you to keep in mind that these kinds of rhythms are applied in very similar ways across many other music styles. You could find this stuff in folk music, find stuff very similar to this in light rock, some classic rock, even country and western. Now, the idea here is strongly based upon the feel of the eighth note, and it also includes slight syncopation in a lot of cases as well, especially in pop music. Now, what's going to happen in this example is we're going to have a simple set of chord changes. It's going to be D major over to a G. We're going to come up over to an A, and then we're going to have a C moving to G, taking us back to the D again. So what's really happening here is I'm using a whole bunch of bar chords. It really, I shouldn't even say that. I mean, I'm just using two different patterns. I'm using a barred style off of the 5th string root, where I have my index on that 5th string, and I'm just collapsing the ring finger to generate the bar. You know, you just keep your thumb back a little bit, and it shouldn't be too bad for you to generate that. And I'm using that for the D and the C, and then for the G and the A, I'm just using the standard bar chord layout for a major chord off the 6th string. And this is really similar to that dominant 7th chord we were just doing, except the small finger just tucks in on the 4th guitar string a whole step up. It's like you're making an extended power chord when you're doing those low notes, and that's going to generate that triad for you. All right. Now, the pattern itself of this rhythmic groove is going to be a little more complex. You know, as you'll recall from the blues rhythm idea, was one standard feel, 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4, and it just kind of did that over and over and over. Now, in this example that I put together of a pop music rhythm, I've got some 8th notes in the beginning there on the first measure. I've got 2 coming up front off the beat of 1, so it's 1 and then we're resting on the down beat of 2. Then on the up beat of 2, we're having an attack that actually sustains over into the down beat of 3, so we don't play that third attack. Then we have the upbeat of 3, the down and up of 4, finishing off the measure. That first measure on the D chord sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can tell there on the strum hand, it's a little bit more involved. I'm going down, up, 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 down, up, you know, a little bit more involved with that hand. Now, just because I did that series of downs and ups, it doesn't mean that you have to do that. You could invent your own strum pattern for those 8th notes if you wanted to, and you know, maybe that's going to work better for you. I don't know, but I'm never really a huge believer that you've got to strum these things in one way only. You know, I've met so many great guitar players over the years who've had just really bizarre strum pattern concepts, and you know, I'm not the kind of believer that there's only one way to execute things on the instrument. But anyway, that aside, let's keep going. On the next measure, we've got a G chord that rolls around. That one's going to start off with a down strum attacking a dotted quarter note. That's going to last for a beat and a half, and then on the up beat of 2, we're going to have an up attack that's going to sustain over the beats of 3 and 4. So that second measure is going to be like this on the G chord: 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then we're going to move forward into the A. We have 2 eighth notes there. We lose again on the downbeat of 2, but we have an up attack on the upbeat of 2 that sustains over the count of 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then we are going to move into the last measure, the fourth measure, where we have a C with a quarter note. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now on that last attack, we're getting into the G there as the upbeat of 3 into the downbeat of 4. So it's kind of a funny measure because it's almost like the measure is a mirror image of itself from the first 2 beats to the last 2 beats there. So it's kind of, you know, different. The feel of it goes 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So the strum pattern is going to be a little bit different too. Down, down. I'm doing 2 downs in a row there. Down, down, and then up, down. All right. So here's how the whole thing goes. Once again, those changes are D, G, A, and then a quick C, G. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So here it is one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, I'm going to do one more time yet, but this time I'm not going to count. I'm just going to strum the thing down. Well, in my final example, I'm going to work through a rock riff in the key of B minor. Now, playing rock riffs, or for that matter, you know, whatever, grunge, metal, punk, it's pretty much going to have us running through a lot of power chords. These are generally just 2-note chords when they're played in the simplest form. They operate like this. You know, I'm doing a B power chord here. That's 2nd fret and 4th fret of the 5th and 4th strings. Now on the strumming, it's really quite important here that you only strike just the 2 strings that are involved in the power chord. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with beginner guitar players where they're just so sloppy on this right hand. They're banging into a bunch of guitar strings that really don't matter and all that. But you've got to really localize that strum. You know, just work very diligently. I don't know, you watch a TV show or something and just sit there and just work on that over and over till you get a extremely accurate pick attack where you're just hitting only the 2 strings that are part of the power chord shape down there. So just really watch for that. That's a huge aspect of this thing. A lot of the feel that we're generating when we're doing power chords along the neck, you know, it's just really a lot of down strumming, you know. So if you get really good at that down strumming technique, you're just gonna do fine with this stuff. That's why it's such a great rhythmic concept to work on in the early days of playing guitar, because it's, you know, there's not a lot of, you know, concentrated effort that has to go into this hand. It's just localizing that strum, and you can get away with tons of down picking and do really well with this. Now in my rock rhythm guitar progression that I'm going to show you, I'm working through a series of power chords in B minor from down in the lower region of the neck. The chords are going to be B power chord, moving up to the 5th position, that's from 2nd to 5th. We're going to have a D power chord just shooting over across. Now we're going to leave 5th string, in other words, and we're going to go to the 6th string. So we're going to leaving the D power chord and shooting over to an A power chord, and then dropping 2 frets lower to a G after that. And then we're going to have an F sharp come in, so that's going to be a descending line there. And then we're going to go into an open E power chord. Now to do this one, we have an open 6th string in the bass, low open 6th, along with the 2nd fret B note on the 5th string. So So you have your F sharp moving to the E there. And then for the A, you could do it right above, because above the E is an A. So we have open A 5th string. We can have 2nd fret of the 4th string, and that can wrap that up. Or if you wanted to, you could shoot over to the 5th and 7th frets on the 6th and 5th strings, and you can play a power chord there as well. It's up to you. So here's the whole progression. It goes like this. All right. Now let's talk a little bit more though about this rhythm progression I'm using. It's mostly eighth notes. Measure 1 is just a series of them played off of that root chord of the key, the B power chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if you want to add to it a little bit, I mean, a really popular rhythm guitar concept to do with rock is to use the heel of your hand, just this area here of your hand. I'd say approximately 1/8 of an inch or so, just right where that string rolls over the saddle. Just get a little bit of that, fleshy part of the heel of your hand sitting there, and you're going to get a nice muffled effect. So it's not, really killing it out in terms of the sound. It's basically just sort of in that correct region there where the strings roll over the saddle. We get sort of a nice muffled idea. This works great, by the way, with some distortion. And anyway, moving along, we have a quarter note that's dotted on the next measure, and that moves over to the A chord where we have the upbeat of 2 as an 8th note tied to a half note. So the feel of that second measure from the D to the A is going to go 1 and 2 and 3, 4, like that. Then we're going to shoot down into the G chord there. That's just going to pedal away on more 8th notes on the G chord. 1 and 2 and 3. Now on the third beat, we're going to have the last G attack there, and then we're going to move down on the 4th beat to add in a power chord, a passing chord idea. Now, this is really popular in rock. You'll hear this in a lot of the progressions. It's really important to be able to scoot these power chords along the neck laterally, very easy, so you're going to have to work on that a lot. It's not like playing your couple of bar chords in a folk tune or something where you haven't got a lot of lateral motion on the guitar fingerboard. With rock and with all the power chord movements and the motion that we have along the neck with that, you got to be able to rip these chords down the guitar pretty easy. And then the last measure, we have a quarter note, and then we have an 8th to over to an 8th note again, but that's where we're changing chords there. And then it's sustaining over with a tie to another half note. So here's the whole progression again. I'm going to count it through one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2. I actually counted that wrong, sorry. 1, 2, and. That's what I wanted to say. Let me do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1. When I first started teaching guitar, that was one of the hardest things I can remember learning how to do well, is to play and count out loud, for my students. Man, that was difficult. But anyway, this is the progression played one last time here without me counting the time in the background, just so you can hear this thing moving along. Here we go. Rhythm guitar ideas are extremely important to spend time working on. You need to have the ability to count time well, staying in time with a click track or a drum machine as best as you humanly can at all times is paramount. And on top of all this, you need to learn as many chord patterns on the neck as possible. Any good rhythm guitar player knows all of their bar chords. They have 100% command of all the different open position chord patterns. They know how to use a capo and move progressions all along the neck with ease. And most importantly, they can really feel time, and they have an ability to duplicate rhythmic patterns when they hear them. And if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's working toward duplicating rhythms. Listen to tons of different styles and duplicate the rhythm guitars. This, I would truly believe, above all else, will bring you and your rhythm guitar skills up to a high level of skill faster than almost any other way that I know of. Anyhow, that's about all the time that I have for today. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if possible, please consider a small donation to help fund the Guitar Lessons project here. It would help out around the studio a great deal. Otherwise, have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now. I'd like to take a moment to mention another guitar video lesson project I've started. It's a unique guitar lesson approach that I'm doing online, and it's not like anything I've done before. Best of all, it's 100% free. I've called this approach Guitar Micro Lessons, and they're a great way to learn a few new licks or riffs or chord shapes each week. Now, these Guitar Micro Lessons are quick and easy to learn from. They're very short, with each lesson running between only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in length. They're published to YouTube from Monday to Thursday on my other Guitar Blog Update YouTube channel, and you can either subscribe to that channel to guarantee getting each new episode, or just visit the channel whenever it's convenient for you and check out the new micro lessons in the playlist on the Guitar Blog Update channel's homepage. My Blues Guitar Styles ebook is a masterclass course covering a huge amount of information with 8, 12, and 16 bar blues progressions, classic blues styles, plus all the important chord patterns. There's over 50 pages of information, including sections on blues techniques like slide, alternate tuning, and bending. This ebook has everything the guitar player needs for a solid foundation in blues guitar, including 27 MP3 audio tracks for easy at-home study. Blues Guitar Styles is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.